How this year's Royal Christmas Day reveals the shock challenges facing the British royal family. There are feuds on both sides of the Atlantic. And it really does start to feel like things have collapsed somewhat in the 2 years since the death of Queen Elizabeth II. So we're going to analyse it.
This year's Royal Christmas reveals just how fragile the British royal family has become. Feuds now span both sides of the Atlantic, and what once felt like a stable institution appears increasingly fractured, especially in the 2 years following Queen Elizabeth II's death. Long-standing unity has given way to unresolved tensions that now define the monarchy's present moment.
But actually, when I saw that video, I was like, there is something true. This is a royal family divided on so many levels this Christmas, right to the point that William isn't even wanting to stay for the lunch after the main church service at Sandringham.
Beneath the seasonal traditions, this Christmas exposes a deeper breakdown within the family. Even senior royals appear to be distancing themselves from long-standing customs, highlighting how far the family has drifted from the cohesion once enforced by Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip.
There has been so much briefing and counter-briefing about what is really going on between King Charles and Prince Harry. But I think as we get to Christmas, Brittany, it is very fair to say that the way that Harry is trying to present things to the world is not accurate. From what I'm told, Brittany, there will be no big reunion on Christmas Day, virtually. I'm talking. There's not going to be a happy phone call.
As Christmas approaches, the reality of the relationship between King Charles and Prince Harry looks far colder than public narratives suggest. There will be no reunion, no reconciliatory call, only lingering resentment after previous attempts at peace were allegedly leveraged for publicity, deepening distrust within the palace.
But isn't he right to actually put his foot down for once and just say, actually, things are better than they looked? Certainly earlier this year, when Harry was talking about, the next year is going to be all about my dad, it was on this tacit understanding, Brittany, that this could be Charles's last Christmas. Now, you know, I have reported the cancer remains incurable. He is certainly not in remission. There will be continued treatment into 2026. But at the same time, Brittany, his prognosis is slightly better than probably what Harry was expecting. So as a result, it's almost quite crude of the delusional Duke.
Despite claims of reconciliation, the future for Prince Harry within the royal fold appears closed. Any path back as a working royal, or even a peripheral figure, has effectively vanished. Continued attempts to blur that boundary risk destabilizing the institution itself, forcing Charles to choose between monarchy and fatherhood.
There were chances for 2 reunions this year. There were opportunities. If Harry and Meghan had actually shown some form of contrition, admitted that they were in the wrong, Brittany, there was an opportunity for the relationship with Charles to at least get back on some type of positive grounding. Likewise, Thomas Markle. But they can't do it. They have a fundamental inability, Brittany, to ever admit.
What makes the situation so striking is how many chances for reconciliation were missed. Opportunities existed for genuine repair if accountability had been shown. Instead, entrenched victim narratives and public grievances have hardened divisions, leaving little room for trust or forgiveness.
Does seem very clear this Christmas, Brittany, is increasingly the Prince of Wales is operating a separate court. He has so much more power. He's doing things his way. The modernization effort has almost begun with or without Charles's approval. That certainly to me seems behind this decision not to be at the Christmas lunch, given William has briefed, or his friends have briefed and made clear that come him taking over the throne, lots of these royal traditions that were very important to Queen Elizabeth II, and Charles has tried to continue them to honour his mother's memory, will be out the window, and they are in some ways, Brittany, quite
This Christmas also signals a power shift. Prince William is increasingly operating independently, reshaping royal traditions and preparing for a future reign that may discard long-held ceremonial hierarchies. The monarchy's modernization appears to be unfolding with or without
King portrayed in that Katie Hopkins video, Brittany. But from a perspective of this very small group of people who are dwindling in numbers, how much of a blow is it for the likes of Princess Anne and Prince Edward not to have their brother, now simply Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, his ex-wife, Fergie, who is popular amongst some members of the royal family, and potentially, we don't know this for sure, Brittany, but potentially not the two daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, and their husband and children with them for Christmas Day. Because whatever you think of Andrew, and certainly members of the royal family think a lot about him, not all positive, certainly from the perspective of Prince William, not positive very much at all. But he has been a fixture, he has been there, and it's one of the more brutal decisions that you would argue was forced on King Charles. Cutting his own brother from a private...
One of the most painful consequences of this transformation is the quiet exclusion of Prince Andrew from private family celebrations. While controversial, the decision underscores how unresolved scandals eventually force brutal reckonings, especially when left unmanaged for too long.
No, it really is. It really is, Brittany. And I just keep thinking, isn't it interesting that in all of this, William wants his children, and remember, one of those 3 children is at some point going to be king. He wants his children not to experience the old-fashioned royal Christmas at Sandringham, but I would argue the much more modern, more traditional, more loving Christmas with the Middleton family. And it just strikes me as something quite significant, given that Harry and Meghan's children have never even experienced an English Christmas either. This is certainly the changing of the royal guard for good or ill.
It's one of those situations, Dan, where we'll have to see how it eventually...
William's approach to family life contrasts sharply with tradition. Rather than immersing his children in historic royal rituals, he appears to favor a more modern, emotionally grounded upbringing, one that may permanently redefine what royal childhood looks like.
Brittany, thank you so much. And of course, Brittany will be back next week as we unveil her brutally honest royal report cards for 2025. I'm so excited about that. Who's passed? Who's got A+? And who's failed. So Brittany, put your thinking cap on. We will do that next week. But Merry Christmas, by the way, as well. I hope you have a wonderful day, Brittany, with your family. And I should say that even though it is Christmas Day, we are going to be with you, because I know it can be really lonely for some people on Christmas Day. So Lady Colin Campbell at midday UK time on Christmas Day will be revealing her second annual awards. She covers everything, obviously the royals, but also celebrities and politics and international affairs. But it's Lady C, so we're going to have a hoot along the way. You can be with us midday UK time for that show on Christmas Day. You can obviously watch it after too if you're with your family on Christmas Day, but I thought it was important to provide some special content on what can be.
As the episode closes, the story of this royal Christmas is ultimately one of transition between generations, values, and visions of duty. Whether these changes strengthen or weaken the monarchy remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the royal family is no longer standing still.